Before starting this video, I would like to give a shout out to my friends at Glaze. The tempered glass that you see for the OnePlus 60 as well as the iPhone XR in this video is from them, and they've recently launched their new premium curved edge-to-edge tempered glass for these devices. So if you guys have the OnePlus 60 or the new iPhones, then do check them out, and you can use the promo code GIZMO to save 10% off your order. The curved edge tempered glasses are really nice and premium. I have been using it on my devices and I really like them. So yeah, the link is in the video's description. Hey guys, gizmoddict here and welcome to the first iPhone review on this channel. So like a lot of you guys, even I am an all-time Android user, but then I have to say using the iPhone XR was actually a very refreshing change. It's got to be the most controversial iPhone of this year mainly because of that display. But I have to say, if I were to buy an iPhone, I would buy the XR as compared to the XS or the XS Max. Why is that the case? Allow me to explain. So the iPhone XR is the cheapest new iPhone that comes in at $750 in the US and at a very steep 76,900 rupees in India. Seriously Apple, what were you even thinking? But anyways, it's the cheapest new iPhone, and when people hear the words cheap and entry level, they think that the phone won't be that great. It's going to be a compromise in terms of performance, camera and things like that. But that's not the case with the XR. Apart from the display on the front, it's actually very similar to the XS and the XS Max. Apple hasn't really compromised anywhere, so we're gonna start off by talking about the outside of this phone. On the outside, you've got a glass back along with a metal frame on the side. It's the 7000 series aluminum that they use in their phones, and I have to say the iPhone XR feels very rich and premium. The aluminum sides actually match to the color of the phone that you get, and you've got a glass back which absolutely looks amazing. So yeah, I like the look and feel of the iPhone XR. It feels very premium and rich, and it's worth the money that you're paying for. The iPhone XS and the XS Max get a stainless steel frame on the side, but the aluminum feels premium enough on the iPhone XR. On the inside as well, you've got the same A12 Bionic chip that you have on the XS and the XS Max, and it is bonkers fast. I mean, it's one of the fastest chips in a smartphone, and it crushes all of the tests and benchmarks. Now, I don't believe in benchmarks a lot, but then my overall experience on the iPhone XR has been amazing. Especially the gaming performance was very good on this phone. I played a lot of PUBG on the iPhone XR on the highest settings possible. So I was on HDR plus the ultra frame rate. The ultra setting is not yet available, but I played on the highest settings possible and the gameplay was super smooth. I mean, there were no lags at all. The game was super optimized, and this has got to be my best PUBG experience on a smartphone. Seriously, the gaming performance of the iPhone XR with the A12 chip is exceptional. The A12 chip, like I said, is super good, but then you can't take full advantage of your hardware if the software is not that optimized. That's where iOS 12 comes in. I'm totally a fan of how optimized this thing is. You can really feel it when you use the phone. Even apps like Instagram, Snapchat, Google's own suite of apps like Gmail, Creator Studio, etc. are a lot more fluid and optimized on iOS than on Android. That in itself speaks volumes about how good the optimization is on iOS 12. And I can understand why a lot of people prefer that, because you don't need super heavy specifications to make an amazing iPhone. You've still got like 3GB of RAM here, wasn't an issue for me, and there is only 2900 mAh of battery, which is absolutely crap by Android standards, but the battery life was amazing on the iPhone XR. In fact, I've gotten the best battery life on an iPhone on the XR because I could go almost 7 to 8 hours of screen on time on this phone on a single charge. So yeah, that's amazing for a phone with such small battery. And that right there tells you how good iOS is at managing resources. I still don't like the closed nature of iOS or the way Apple handles notifications, but this is something that just works, and I get the appeal of iOS, especially if you have a lot of Apple devices in your ecosystem. But then everything's not that great on the XR. Even though you've got Face ID, it works 90% of the time. I genuinely miss the fingerprint sensor. I feel it should be there. Even something like the in-display sensor would also work great, but then Apple, being the connoisseur of bold decisions, decided to skip it like the headphone jack. What I absolutely hate though is that they don't even give you the lightning to 3.5mm converter anymore. It used to be free in all of the old iPhones, but then with the 2018 iPhones, they've decided to just skip it. Seriously, Apple, you're such a big brand. Even people like Xiaomi, OnePlus give you that adapter. Why can't you give it with the iPhones? We are already paying so much, you might as well keep it in the box. But seriously, that was super annoying, and if you want that converter, you need to shell out like $9 to $10 more. And while we are on the negatives about the 10R, let's address the elephant in the room, the display. It's not the best. My OnePlus 60 has a better display than the iPhone 10R, but then it's not that bad as people think it is. First of all, it's not a 720p display, it's somewhere between 720 and 1080. And apart from the resolution, there are other things like pixel density, viewing angles, colors, brightness, etc., where the 10R does great. Most of the people won't even notice it if they're coming from the iPhone 6s, 7 or 8. So I genuinely don't think it's a deal breaker. You might miss the deep blacks or the sharpness if you're coming from a flagship Samsung phone, for example. But this is not something that will not make me recommend the 10R. Also, one thing I would like to mention is that the iPhone 10R does not get the 3D touch feature that we've seen on the previous iPhones as well as the new iPhones like the 10s and the 10s Max. You've got something that Apple calls Haptic Touch. It's nothing, it's basically just long press and it simulates the 3D touch. But then it's not as good as 3D touch because you cannot use in things like keyboard or something like that. You can only use it in some of the control center shortcuts and that's about it. So yeah, you have Haptic Touch, but I really miss 3D touch on the iPhone 10R. On that note, let's move on to the cameras of the 10R. No dual camera system here like the 10s or the 10s Max, but the primary sensor is actually the same and you've got the portrait mode as well. The Smart HDR feature works great and I really like this feature where you can later adjust the depth effect in the portrait mode shots. This is available on both front as well as the back camera and the portrait effect is actually very nice. Even in indoor conditions, this camera performs great. I love the camera on the iPhone 10R, but the only place I feel it gets crushed is in low lighting conditions because Google is killing it with night sight. I mean, night sight is so good, it's difficult to compete. So I hope Apple can do something similar with a software update on the new iPhones. Otherwise, it's going to be a tough call when it comes to the cameras on the iPhone. Video recording is also very good here. You can go up to 4K 60 FPS. You've also got optical image stabilization. So overall, the output is great and I've had no complaints with it. Call quality and network reception on the iPhone 10R is also top notch. You've got stereo speakers on the front and I really love the speakers on the iPhone. It's great for multimedia. The screen might not be that good, but then the speakers are amazing and I really love the quality out of them. It's one of the best speakers I've heard on a smartphone and I have to give credit to Apple. The speakers are very good. And you've also got the dual SIM feature here. So you've got one physical SIM and one eSIM. So you can use dual SIM cards on the iPhone. And I think Airtel and Jio are already giving eSIMs in India. So if you want, you can use that. And I think I've already spoken about the battery life. It's amazing on the iPhone 10R. But what sucks is the charging time on this phone. I mean, Apple still gives you that 1 ampere power brick, which takes almost 3 hours to charge this phone. Imagine the battery is only 2900 mAh and it takes 3 hours. Seriously, it's annoying and you should totally buy a fast charger the moment you buy the iPhone and throw that 1 ampere charger in the dustbin. It's that bad. But yeah, this phone also has wireless charging so you can use that if you want to. But seriously Apple, why won't you give a fast charger right inside the box because even the cheap budget phones have it now. But overall I have to say that I love the iPhone 10R. If you are in the market just for an iPhone, then I think you should buy the iPhone 10R as compared to the 10s or the 10s Max. Yeah, I know you have to compromise with the display as well as the 3D touch feature, but then you get 90% of what those phones are for a lot less money. So you're going to save up some money, you're going to get better battery life than those two iPhones, and you have to compromise somewhere. But I think the iPhone 10R is a great iPhone to buy. But honestly, if you're open to Android alternatives, I don't think iPhone 10R is worth the money, especially in India. I mean, you've got the OnePlus 60 for half the price of the iPhone 10R, and that phone has a better display and it's also got fast charging and a bigger battery than the iPhone 10R. And then you've also got phones like the Samsung Galaxy Note 9, the Huawei Mate 20 Pro, which is amazing, the Asus ROG phone, and all of those phones are actually 7 to 8,000 or even more cheaper than the iPhone 10R. So I don't see the logic behind buying this phone. The only reason that I would suggest the iPhone 10R is that if you are in the market for an iPhone and nothing else, you don't want Android, you just want an iPhone, then the 10R makes sense. But apart from that, I think you should buy the Android flagships that you have, especially considering how bad the iPhone pricing is in India. That is all I have to say about the iPhone 10R. If you guys enjoyed watching this video, then please hit the like button. I know this was the first iPhone review on the channel, so if you guys would like to see more iPhone related content, then please let me know and I'll try to make more of them. If you're new here, then definitely hit the red subscribe button and press the bell icon so that you guys are notified when I upload my new videos. Please like this video if you enjoyed watching it and consider following me on my social media pages as well. I do post some behind the scenes content there. Anyways, that's it for now. Thanks for watching and I'll be back in the notifications very soon. Peace.